Hello, I'm Davina, and hello to all of you, bold, beautiful, brilliant, and highly evolved souls. Today, I'm going to talk about, well, you are not failing. For me, what I've noticed in this healing process is I'm constantly feeling like that shame is there, like that I'm never healed enough. It's just, I need to do one more thing. And so there's the shame, the cloud of shame that kind of envelops all of my healing process. And so I wanted to share with you a few points that I've kind of come to realize here. So yeah, number one, it's the shame, the shame that just that you're never enough, you're never healed enough, that there's always one more thing to do, one more trigger to work on, one more flashback to go through, one more boundary to set. And it can feel endless, and it can feel like you're never getting there, wherever there is. Um, and this is also, of course, this comes from our narcissistic parents, that we were never enough. And so this transfers into, or can anyway, for me, can transfer into your healing process, and feeling like, you just need to be one more step, and then I'll be healed, and then I'll be there. And I just got to set this boundary, and then I'll be able to relax. And and yeah, it can feel, and we can forget like how far that we've come and all the progress we've made. And wow, look at, I've already set like 50 boundaries, right? And I still have this one to work on. And so we can get wrapped up in the one thing that's not resolved, or the one thing we think is not fixed, or the one thing that we need to figure out. And that can become kind of even obsessive, which can also come just again from the fear that we're feeling. um so I think that's the first thing, is just this general shame that never being healed enough. And know that that is false. That is you know just again more of the conditioning that came from your parents. The second thing is just the shame around our feelings. Like the whole healing process involves feeling feelings, and feeling really difficult feelings, right? Like shame and terror and hopelessness and exhaustion and um, rage. And so like, grief, all of these feelings can make us feel like we're like failing, or at least that's how it has felt for me at times, instead of feeling like, oh, well, I'm processing feelings from my childhood and I know this. But at the same time, it can be difficult because I was programmed to believe that feeling feelings, these sort of what my parents would have called negative feelings, feeling sad or feeling angry, that meant I was bad. That meant I was falling short. That meant I was weak. That meant I was a loser because I was having these feelings. So there's a lot of, conditioning around this. Anything but cheerful was wrong in my family, basically. So you can easily feel like you're just really horribly failing because you're feeling all these feelings are difficult, very difficult and painful feelings are coming to the surface. And just, it's good to just remind yourself that this is part of the process, and that you are healing. You really are. If you're doing the work, if you're moving through those flashbacks and sitting with the pain, then you're doing it. And every day you're making those small shifts. That is the healing. And yeah. And the third thing, before I get going here, is another thing that narcissistic parents do, is they're constantly moving the goalpost, and they're constantly pushing you to be one step ahead of where you already are. So they don't celebrate like what you're doing. They're like, it's like a child. It's like, okay, they're crawling, and they're doing all these wonderful things. Like I'm a nanny, so this girl is crawling, and she's like and she's making all these cute sounds. And And then, the father is always like, well, she'll be walking soon. I think she's going to be talking by next week. And, like he's always pushing to the next level instead of just enjoying the sounds that she's making right now. It's always like, well, she's got to be saying dada soon. So and it's good for me to express this because it's, the real, like, the anger of it, like just enjoy her, like she's 9 months old. And so this is what narcissistic parents tend to do is they just, you've learned your ABCs. Well, how about or ABC? How about DEF? You haven't done DEF yet? And especially for the scapegoat, parents really fail to recognize the accomplishments of the scapegoat. They're just basically ignored because they can't do that. Their story is that you're the defective one, you're the failure, you're the loser of the family, you're the mentally ill one of the family, when it's really the other way around, right? And so what was I going to say? So yeah, they don't acknowledge your accomplishments, and they don't celebrate what you've done, what you've accomplished. Like, even if, like, I was thinking, like, I think I've shared this example before, but I went to Japan and I lived in Japan for 10 and a half years. Like, wow, what an accomplishment, living in a foreign country, a very foreign country, compared to Canada. And my father, I remember, would call and say, have you traveled to other places in Japan yet? And I'd be like, no, I'm working here. I'm having a life here, but I'm not traveling around. And I think he asked me that every time. And I've always felt this shame, but of course I was so wrapped up in it, I didn't know. So, like, you could climb Mount Everest and your parents would be, well, did you take any pictures? Like, they can't do that, because if they acknowledge that you are a success, then that unravels their story. And if that unravels their story of you being defective, then they have to face their own pain. And so you can see how, by maintaining the story that you're the faulty one, they're able to stay in their own denial. So those are the 3 things just to be aware of, and to know that you are succeeding. You're exceeding massively in unbelievable, remarkable, exceptional ways. You are breaking through hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of dysfunction and abuse and addiction in your family. That is amazing. That is incredible. And sometimes I need to remind myself of that. So what you're doing is absolutely exceptional. You are part of human evolution. You're one of the forerunners in this wave of awakening. So yeah, that's what I wanted to say, and I got to get going to work. So wishing you many blessings on your journey of healing and awakening. And I'm Davina at Boldness Blooming. Thank you for watching.